Have you ever wondered where the true heart of Gorontalo beats? Not in the tallest building, not in the busiest street, not in the loudest celebration. The soul of Gorontalo lives in a land where kingdoms once stood together, a place where history was written centuries before Indonesia even existed, a place that has given away parts of itself again and again, yet has never stopped growing stronger. This is Kabupaten Gorontalo, the birthplace of unity, the foundation of an entire province, and one of Indonesia's most remarkable yet overlooked regions. When people hear the name Gorontalo, many immediately think of the province, but few realize that the province itself owes much of its historical identity to Kabupaten Gorontalo. This is not simply another administrative district, it is a land that carries more than 3 centuries of history. Its official birthday is recognized as November 26, 1673. That makes Kabupaten Gorontalo significantly older than the Republic of Indonesia itself. Its origins can be traced to one extraordinary agreement known as Uduluwo Limo Lo Pohala'a, the historic alliance of 5 kingdoms. Those 5 kingdoms were Gorontalo, Limboto, Suwawa, Boalemo, and Atingola. Instead of endless conflict, these kingdoms chose cooperation. Instead of division, they embraced unity. That alliance established a legal and political community built upon 4 essential pillars: territory, people, government, and sovereignty. Centuries later, those same values continue to shape the identity of Kabupaten Gorontalo. Its modern administrative history began in 1959 through Law No. 29 of 1959, which officially established Gorontalo Regency as one of the Level 2 regions in Sulawesi. At that time, the capital was located in Isimu. Then, in 1978, the seat of government moved to Limboto, where it remains today. Limboto has since become the political, administrative, and cultural center of the Regency. Yet perhaps the most remarkable story of Kabupaten Gorontalo is not what it has kept, it is what it has given. Over the decades, Kabupaten Gorontalo willingly divided its own territory 3 separate times to support regional development across northern Sulawesi. The first expansion came in 1999 with the creation of Boalemo Regency. The second followed in 2003, giving birth to Bone Bolango Regency. The third occurred in 2007, resulting in the establishment of North Gorontalo Regency. Every division reduced its own territory. Every expansion meant surrendering land, resources, and population. Yet every step reflected a larger vision. Development was never meant for one region alone. Growth was meant to be shared. Today, those 3 regencies stand as proof that Kabupaten Gorontalo has served as the foundation for much of the province's administrative landscape. Even after 3 territorial divisions, Kabupaten Gorontalo remains one of the largest and most influential regencies in the province. Its land area spans approximately 1,750.83 square kilometers, stretching across fertile valleys, coastal landscapes, lakes, forests, and agricultural plains. The Regency offers an extraordinary diversity of natural environments. Its geography tells an equally fascinating story. To the north lies North Gorontalo Regency. To the east are Bone Bolango Regency and Gorontalo City. To the south stretches the magnificent Tomini Gulf, one of Indonesia's largest and most biologically diverse marine regions. To the west stands Boalemo Regency. This strategic location has made Kabupaten Gorontalo an important crossroads for commerce, agriculture, fisheries, transportation, and regional governance. Its landscapes are equally impressive. Rolling hills meet fertile lowlands. Rice fields stretch toward distant mountains. Freshwater ecosystems support farming communities that have existed for generations. The beautiful Lake Limboto remains one of the Regency's most recognizable natural landmarks, playing an important ecological and cultural role despite facing environmental challenges that require continued conservation. Population growth also reflects the region's importance. In 2010, Kabupaten Gorontalo recorded approximately 355,988 residents, representing more than one-third of the entire provincial population. It was the most populous regency in Gorontalo Province. By the middle of 2023, the population had grown to approximately 415,198 people. Behind every number are families, teachers shaping future generations, farmers cultivating fertile land, fishermen navigating coastal waters, entrepreneurs creating opportunities, students preparing to become tomorrow's leaders. Their stories form the living heartbeat of Kabupaten Gorontalo. Agriculture remains one of the region's strongest economic pillars. The fertile volcanic soils support rice cultivation, corn production, coconut plantations, and the wide variety of food crops. Livestock farming also contributes significantly to local livelihoods. Along the southern coastline, fishing communities benefit from the abundant waters of Tamini Gulf, one of Southeast Asia's richest marine ecosystems. This combination of agriculture and fisheries has long sustained the regional economy. Culture remains deeply woven into everyday life. Traditional customs continue to guide ceremonies, family relationships, and community decision-making. The Gorontalo language, local arts, traditional dances, music, and culinary heritage remain powerful symbols of cultural identity passed from one generation to the next. Hospitality is more than a tradition here, it is a way of life. Visitors often discover communities that welcome strangers like family. Respect for elders, strong social bonds, mutual cooperation. These values continue to define the character of Kabupaten Gorontalo. Education has also become an increasingly important priority. Schools, universities, and public institutions continue expanding opportunities for young people, preparing a new generation capable of competing both nationally and internationally while remaining connected to their cultural roots. Infrastructure development continues to improve connectivity throughout the Regency. Road networks link rural villages with urban centres. Public services continue expanding. Investment opportunities continue emerging. Economic diversification continues creating new possibilities for local communities. Yet, despite modernisation, Kabupaten Gorontalo has never forgotten where it came from. Its greatest strength is not measured by skyscrapers, not by industrial output, not by population statistics alone. Its greatest strength lies in resilience. Imagine losing parts of your own territory 3 separate times. Many places would shrink. Many would struggle to redefine themselves. Many would lose confidence. But Kabupaten Gorontalo did something extraordinary. It transformed every separation into an opportunity. Every challenge became a new beginning. Every sacrifice strengthened the province as a whole. That is the mark of true leadership. That is the meaning of regional vision. That is why Kabupaten Gorontalo deserves far greater recognition than it often receives. Because history is not always written by those who become the largest. Sometimes, history is written by those willing to give. Long before modern Indonesia existed, leaders in this land understood that unity creates strength. That lesson remains just as relevant today. In an era where differences often divide societies, Kabupaten Gorontalo reminds us that cooperation can build civilizations. The alliance of 5 kingdoms was not simply an ancient political agreement. It was a declaration that collective progress matters more than individual power. Centuries later, that philosophy still echoes across the region. Every village, every marketplace, every school, every family, every generation carries pieces of that remarkable legacy. When you look at a map today, Kabupaten Gorontalo may appear as just one regency among many. But maps cannot fully capture history. They cannot measure sacrifice. They cannot show the courage required to build a future beyond one's own borders. Only stories can do that. And this story deserves to be remembered. Because Kabupaten Gorontalo is more than an administrative region. It is the birthplace of enduring unity, the guardian of centuries of tradition, the foundation upon which much of modern Gorontalo Province was built, and living proof that true greatness is not measured by how much land you possess. It is measured by how much you contribute to others. That is the legacy of Kabupaten Gorontalo, a land shaped by history, strengthened by sacrifice, guided by unity, and still inspiring Indonesia, one generation at a time. But history alone does not define Kabupaten Gorontalo. Its greatest chapter is still being written today. Every sunrise over Limboto carries the hopes of hundreds of thousands of people who wake before dawn, not because life is easy, but because they believe tomorrow can be better than yesterday. Across its fertile plains, farmers begin their day while the morning mist still blankets the fields. Generation after generation has relied on this rich volcanic soil to produce rice, corn, coconuts, cassava, chilies, and countless other crops that feed not only local communities, but also contribute to food supplies across the province. Agriculture here is more than an economic activity. It is a tradition. It is knowledge passed from grandparents to grandchildren. It is a reminder that prosperity often begins with patience. While the fertile land provides abundance, the southern coastline opens another world of opportunity. Facing the magnificent Tomini Gulf, Kabupaten Gorontalo enjoys access to one of the richest marine ecosystems on Earth. Scientists have long recognized Tomini Gulf as an area with extraordinary marine biodiversity. Its warm tropical waters support coral reefs, countless species of fish, and marine life that sustain fishing communities across the region. For generations, fishermen have trusted these waters. Long before sophisticated navigation systems existed, they understood the rhythm of the sea. They learned to read the wind, the currents, the changing colours of the horizon. Their experience became wisdom, their wisdom became survival. Even today, fishing continues to support thousands of families whose lives remain deeply connected to the ocean. Nature has always been generous to Kabupaten Gorontalo, yet nature also demands responsibility. One of the region's most iconic natural treasures is Lake Limboto. For centuries, the lake has served as a source of fresh water, fisheries, transportation, and cultural identity. Its calm waters have witnessed the rise of kingdoms, colonial administration, independence, and modern development. The lake is more than a geographical feature, it is part of the soul of Gorontalo. However, like many lakes throughout the world, Lake Limboto faces serious environmental pressures. Sedimentation, pollution, encroachment, changes in land use. These challenges remind us that protecting nature is not optional, it is essential. Because when a lake disappears, a community loses more than water. It loses history, it loses biodiversity, it loses part of its identity. Fortunately, conservation efforts continue through cooperation between government agencies, researchers, universities, and local communities who understand that preserving Lake Limboto means preserving the future. The story of Kabupaten Gorontalo is also a story of resilience against change. Throughout history, the region has adapted repeatedly. Political systems changed, colonial powers came and went, Indonesia gained independence, administrative borders shifted, technology transformed society. Yet the values held by the people remained remarkably consistent: respect, mutual cooperation, family, community. These principles continue to shape everyday life. Walk through villages across Kabupaten Gorontalo, and you will often discover something increasingly rare in today's fast-moving world. People still know their neighbours, communities still work together, traditional ceremonies continue to unite families across generations. Children still grow up listening to stories told by elders. Culture here is not locked inside museums, it remains alive. Traditional Gorontalo dances continue to celebrate important occasions. Local music reflects centuries of cultural evolution. Traditional clothing remains a symbol of pride during ceremonies and official events. Every pattern, every colour, every movement carries meaning. Even local cuisine tells the story of the land itself. Fresh seafood from Tomini Gulf, agricultural products harvested from fertile valleys, traditional spices refined over generations. Each meal becomes an expression of local identity. Food here is not simply nourishment, it is heritage served on a plate. Religion also plays a central role in community life. Mosques stand not only as places of worship, but also as centres of education, social responsibility, and community cooperation. Faith has helped strengthen social harmony while encouraging compassion, generosity, and mutual respect among residents. This balance between tradition and modernity is perhaps one of Kabupaten Gorontalo's greatest strengths. While preserving cultural identity, the Regency continues investing in the future. Schools continue expanding educational access, healthcare services continue improving, roads and bridges strengthen regional connectivity. Digital technology increasingly reaches rural communities. Young entrepreneurs are discovering new opportunities through innovation. Local businesses are connecting with national markets. Tourism continues developing as more visitors begin to discover the hidden beauty of Gorontalo. And what beauty they find! Rolling green hills, crystal clear rivers, peaceful lakes, white sand beaches, the endless blue horizon of Tomini Gulf. Every landscape reminds visitors that some of Indonesia's greatest treasures remain untouched by mass tourism. This is not a destination built on artificial attractions. Its greatest attraction is authenticity. Travelers searching for genuine cultural experiences often discover something unforgettable here. Not luxury, not extravagance, but sincerity. The warmth of local hospitality leaves an impression that lasts far longer than photographs ever could. Perhaps that is why so many visitors leave Kabupaten Gorontalo feeling that they have experienced something increasingly difficult to find in the modern world. A place where people still value relationships more than status, where community matters more than individual recognition, where tradition continues to guide progress instead of standing in its way. These are not outdated values, they are timeless strengths. The future of Kabupaten Gorontalo will undoubtedly bring new opportunities. Economic development will continue, technology will reshape industries, infrastructure will improve connectivity. New generations will pursue dreams unimaginable to their grandparents. Yet no matter how much changes, one truth should never be forgotten. Every future stands upon a foundation built by those who came before. The kingdoms that formed Uduluwo Limo Lopohala'a could never have imagined satellites orbiting Earth or smartphones connecting billions of people. But they understood something even more important. A civilization becomes stronger when its people stand together. That lesson has survived for more than 3 centuries. It remains just as powerful today, because the greatest wealth of Kabupaten Gorontalo has never been measured only by its fertile land, or its fisheries, or its growing population. Its greatest wealth has always been its people. People who continue building, continuing serving, continuing believing, and continuing proving that history is not something left behind. History lives through every generation, willing to protect it and carry it forward. And in Kabupaten Gorontalo, that story is far from over. Yet there is one question every Indonesian should ask. Why is a place with such extraordinary historical importance still relatively unknown outside its own province? Why do millions of people know famous destinations across Indonesia, yet few realize that Kabupaten Gorontalo helps shape the political and cultural identity of an entire region? Perhaps the answer is simple. Some places do not seek attention. They simply continue contributing, quietly, consistently, generation after generation. Kabupaten Gorontalo has never needed to prove its importance through grand monuments or towering skylines. Its greatest monument is its legacy, a legacy that stretches from the 17th century into the 21st century without ever losing its relevance. Think about that for a moment. For more than 350 years, this land has witnessed the rise and fall of kingdoms, the arrival of colonial powers, the struggle for independence, the birth of modern Indonesia, the creation of a new province, the expansion of new regencies, the rapid transformation of the digital age. Very few places can claim to have experienced so many defining moments while preserving their cultural identity. That continuity is remarkable. History often rewards places that adapt without forgetting who they are. Kabupaten Gorontalo is one of those places. Its people understand that progress is not about abandoning tradition. Real progress is about carrying the wisdom of the past into the future. That philosophy can be seen everywhere, in classrooms where children learn both modern science and local heritage, in traditional ceremonies where ancient customs remain meaningful in a contemporary society, in community gatherings where decisions are still guided by dialogue, respect, and consensus. Development here is not simply measured by new buildings, it is measured by stronger communities. Because a region is never truly successful if economic growth comes at the cost of social harmony. This balance has become one of Kabupaten Gorontalo's defining characteristics. As Indonesia continues moving towards becoming one of the world's largest economies, regions like Kabupaten Gorontalo play an increasingly important role. Food security, environmental conservation, regional connectivity, cultural preservation, human resource development. These are not abstract concepts. They are daily realities. Every harvest contributes to national resilience. Every fishing boat supports coastal livelihoods. Every school prepares future leaders. Every family passing on its traditions strengthens Indonesia's cultural diversity. This is how nations become strong, not only through major cities, but through regions whose contributions are often overlooked. Kabupaten Gorontalo reminds us that the strength of Indonesia does not come from Jakarta alone. It comes from thousands of communities spread across more than 17,000 islands, each with its own history, each with its own identity, each contributing something irreplaceable. That is the beauty of Indonesia. Unity without uniformity, diversity without division. This philosophy has existed in Gorontalo for centuries, long before the modern republic adopted the national motto. The alliance of the five kingdoms demonstrated that cooperation creates stability, prosperity, and peace. That lesson deserves to be remembered, especially today. because the modern world often encourages competition above collaboration, individual success above collective progress, short-term achievement above long-term responsibility. Kabupaten Gorontalo offers a different perspective. It teaches that true leadership is measured not by how much power you accumulate, but by how much opportunity you create for others. Its history proves exactly that. 3 times it gave birth to new regencies, 3 times it accepted change, 3 times it chose regional progress over territorial pride. That is not weakness, that is vision. It takes confidence to share, it takes wisdom to build something larger than yourself. Perhaps this is why Kabupaten Gorontalo continues to inspire those who truly understand its story, because beneath every statistic lies a human journey. Behind every historical date stands a generation that made sacrifices. Behind every administrative boundary lives a community that refused to stop moving forward. Travel through Kabupaten Gorontalo today, and you will not only discover beautiful landscapes, you will discover resilience, you will discover humility, you will discover people whose quiet determination has shaped history without demanding recognition. There is something profoundly inspiring about places like this, places that remind us greatness does not always announce itself. Sometimes greatness grows quietly, one family at a time, one village at a time, one generation at a time. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson Kabupaten Gorontalo offers the world. Real strength is not loud, real strength is consistent. It is the courage to protect your identity while embracing change. It is the wisdom to preserve history while preparing for the future. It is the willingness to sacrifice today so future generations can stand on stronger foundations tomorrow. That is exactly what this region has done for centuries, and that is why Kabupaten Gorontalo deserves far more than a brief mention on a map. It deserves to be studied, it deserves to be visited, it deserves to be celebrated, not simply because of where it is, but because of what it represents. It represents unity forged through trust, leadership built on responsibility, progress rooted in tradition, and hope carried across generations. Every road leading into Kabupaten Gorontalo carries travelers toward more than a destination. It leads them into one of Indonesia's oldest living stories, a story that continues every single day, a story written not only by kings or government officials, but by teachers inspiring young minds, farmers nurturing the land, fishermen embracing the sea, mothers raising future leaders, children dreaming of a brighter tomorrow. Together, they remind us that history is never finished. It is alive. It breathes through every community that chooses hope over fear, service over selfishness, unity over division. So the next time someone mentions Gorontalo, remember this. Behind the province stands a regency that helped shape its identity. Behind the modern boundaries lies a history spanning more than 3.5 centuries. And behind that history stand hundreds of thousands of people who continue proving that the true measure of greatness is not found in how much attention a place receives, it is found in how deeply it shapes the lives of those who call it home. This is Kabupaten Gorontalo, the cradle of enduring unity, the keeper of remarkable history, a land that has given more than it has taken, a land whose greatest chapters are still waiting to be written. And perhaps after hearing its story, you will never look at the map of Indonesia the same way again. Every nation has places that attract the world's attention, cities filled with skyscrapers, tourist destinations crowded with millions of visitors, industrial centers that dominate economic headlines. They deserve recognition, but they are not the whole story. The true story of a nation is written in places like Kabupaten Gorontalo, places that rarely make international headlines, places that quietly shape the character of a country, places where history is not remembered only in books, but lived every single day. Because history is not measured only by famous battles or monumental buildings. History is measured by the values that survive through generations. And in Kabupaten Gorontalo, those values remain remarkably strong. Unity, respect, responsibility, mutual cooperation, perseverance. These principles have guided this land for centuries. They transformed 5 neighboring kingdoms into a united political community. They guided the region through colonial rule. They strengthened its people during Indonesia's struggle for independence. They carried the regency through administrative transformation and regional expansion. And today, they continue guiding a new generation toward the future. The world is changing faster than ever before. Artificial intelligence is transforming industries. Digital technology is reshaping education. Global markets connect communities separated by thousands of kilometers. Climate change challenges every nation. Economic competition grows more intense every year. In such a rapidly changing world, many communities struggle with one difficult question. How do you embrace the future without losing your identity? Kabupaten Gorontalo offers an answer. You do not choose between tradition and progress. You bring them forward together. You protect your heritage while welcoming innovation. You preserve your culture while expanding your opportunities. You honor your ancestors by building a better tomorrow. That is sustainable progress. That is meaningful development. That is the lesson this remarkable region continues to teach. Its young people are becoming entrepreneurs, engineers, educators, healthcare professionals, scientists, artists, athletes, and public servants. Many leave to study or work in larger cities. Some travel across Indonesia. Others build careers overseas. But wherever they go, they carry with them something far more valuable than a diploma. They carry the identity of Gorontalo, an identity built upon honesty, hard work, respect, community, and service. Because home is not simply the place where you were born. Home is the place that shapes your character. For hundreds of thousands of people, Kabupaten Gorontalo will always be that place. Its influence reaches far beyond its administrative borders. Every successful graduate, every innovative entrepreneur, every dedicated teacher, every compassionate doctor, every responsible public servant, every hard-working farmer, every courageous fisherman, each becomes an ambassador for the values nurtured by this land. That is how the influence of a region extends across a nation, not through geography alone, but through people. People remain the greatest resource of Kabupaten Gorontalo. Buildings can be replaced, roads can be rebuilt, governments will change, technology will continue evolving, but a society built upon integrity can withstand almost anything. That resilience has already been proven throughout history. For more than 350 years, Kabupaten Gorontalo has experienced political transformation, territorial change, demographic growth, economic evolution, and social development. Yet its cultural foundation has endured. That endurance deserves admiration, because preserving identity across centuries is one of humanity's greatest achievements. It requires commitment, it requires education, it requires families who teach values long before children enter classrooms. It requires communities that understand traditions are not obstacles to progress. They are the roots that allow progress to stand firmly. Without roots, even the tallest tree cannot survive the strongest storm. Kabupaten Gorontalo has deep roots. That is why it continues growing. And perhaps that is the greatest message this land offers Indonesia. Development should never erase identity. Economic growth should never replace humanity. Modernization should never require forgetting where we came from. The strongest societies are those that remember their past while confidently building their future. This regency proves that every single day. Perhaps somewhere in Limboto, a young child is looking toward the horizon and imagining a future as a scientist. Perhaps another dreams of becoming a pilot, an architect, a teacher, a marine biologist studying the extraordinary biodiversity of Tomini Gulf, or a leader determined to serve the community that raised them. Those dreams matter, because every great nation begins with ordinary children who dare to dream extraordinary dreams. And every dream deserves a place where it can grow. Kabupaten Gorontalo has been nurturing dreams for generations. Some dreams transformed villages, some transformed regencies, some transformed lives. The next generation may transform Indonesia itself. That possibility begins here, on fertile land that has fed communities for centuries, along coastlines where fishermen still greet the rising sun, beside Lake Limboto, whose waters continue reflecting both history and hope, within classrooms filled with curious young minds, inside homes where parents continue teaching timeless values, and across communities where the spirit of unity remains stronger than the forces that seek to divide. This is why Kabupaten Gorontalo is far more than a destination. It is a living lesson, a reminder that greatness is built slowly, patiently, collectively, generation after generation. Its story reminds us that maps only reveal where places are located. They cannot reveal what those places have sacrificed. They cannot measure courage. They cannot calculate wisdom. They cannot show the strength of a community that has spent centuries choosing cooperation over conflict and service over self-interest. Only history can tell that story, and only those willing to listen can truly understand its meaning. So when you look toward the northern peninsula of Sulawesi, do not see only another regency. See one of Indonesia's oldest centers of unity. See a homeland that gave birth to new regions without losing its own identity. See a community whose resilience has stood the test of centuries. See a people whose quiet contributions continue strengthening the Republic of Indonesia. Because every nation needs places that remind us who we are. Kabupaten Gorontalo is one of those places, a land where history still breathes, where culture still guides progress, where unity remains a living tradition, and where the next chapter of Indonesia's future is already being written, not with loud voices, not with empty promises, but with honest work, shared purpose, enduring hope, and the unwavering belief that the greatest legacy any generation can leave is not wealth, not power, not fame, but a stronger homeland for those who come after them. This is Kabupaten Gorontalo, a land of history, a land of resilience, a land of unity, a land whose story deserves to be remembered, celebrated, and shared with the world.